evening, everybody. Welcome to Mountain Readiness Mondays. I'm your host, T. I'm a little bit late. It's been one of those days, one of those interesting days. There's Chris. He disappeared there for a second.
Yeah, right when the countdown started, boop, I'm gone. I'm like, oh, of course.
That's it. Gone. But hey, look here, guys. Usually this is, we keep it pretty lighthearted on this show most of the time. And, we talk about survival and preparedness and homesteading, but this is a little bit different of a show here. We've got someone that I've known for quite a while through part of the mountain readiness community. You guys don't know Bryson, but you do know Wes. And I know Bryson through Wes Hightower, of course, that's been part of mountain readiness from the first, right out of the gate, the very first one. So this is a little bit closer to home. And we want to get Bryson and his family as much exposure as we possibly can with what's going on here. Just to give you a rundown, guys, Bryson is, introductions. Everybody knows Sue over here. And Sue, when it comes to the Constitution, he's got it's in his back pocket at all times. Same thing with Chris. I want to bring these guys in here to throw a little bit more luster and shine to this conversation. But we really need to get this out to as many people as we possibly can, because this is a family whose rights are being trampled on once again. I don't know. It makes me mad. I've had a bad day thinking about this all day long. It's upset me. I don't know about you guys, but it's every time you turn around, it's little guy trying to make a living. And once again, here is big government coming in saying, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't make a living for you and your family, an honest living. You can't own a home. I'm fed up. I'm fed up with this. You buy a home, but you don't own it. You buy a car, but you don't own it. Where does it stop? Now we have somebody here. We've got Bryson Lipscomb, his wife, Mackenzie, their two sons, Noah, Abraham. They live in Virginia. They run Triple Oaks Farm. They raise pasture pork. They have a PMA, Private Membership Association, that's protected under the First Amendment, the right to assemble. And their members have the ability to have milk, raw milk. God forbid that we drink milk in its purest form, but that's a problem. So I don't know, guys. That's where I'm at with things. It's just every time you turn around, you hear about this stuff. Where is our food sovereignty? In this day and age, we can do whatever we want to with our bodies. It doesn't matter. We can do whatever we want to. I really liked Joel Salatin just put out a thing about this earlier today, I saw. And he said, we have the freedom of choice in the bedroom, the bathroom, and the womb, but not in the kitchen. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? So let's go ahead and bring Bryson out here. And Bryson, welcome to the show. And man, I'm glad you could be on here. We're interested to hear a little bit more detail, and I'm sure everybody else out here is as well, about what's going on in your life, man.
Yeah, T, thank you for having me on. It's an honor. It's a real pleasure. Well, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, to get serious on your light-hearted podcast.
No.
We can have fun with this.
Well, we can, and we will. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is it? It's we know why. The higher powers that be, the evil that runs this world, they don't want us to be healthy. That's the only way. That's the only thing that I can say. If I want to go eat, something full of dyes and processed garbage, that's completely fine. I'm getting some back feed. I don't know what in the world that is.
Not from me.
Not sure. Nope. Sorry, guys. I don't know. It may be me. Are you hearing that, Bryson, or is it just me?
Yeah, it sounds like a TV. Somebody's TV playing.
Yeah, it sounds like a television as well.
Now
Chris is going to take care of it. But no, it's Chris.
The advantage of it.
No, but it is kind of a downer though, but things like this needs to be talked about, because too much too much is going on in this world, and it always seems like it falls on the little man just trying to make a living. Not that you're a little dude whatsoever. You're not a little man, but you know, you're trying to make an honest living, raise your family, your children in an environment and expose them to what we're supposed to be exposed to, right? And here you are. I don't know if a lot of you guys realize this, that picture that I've threw up on Facebook is the actual sheriff serving the paperwork to Bryson. And did you see that paperwork? It looked like an encyclopedia, you know?
Yeah. FDA gets involved, you know, big brother got to get there and protect you from unpasteurized, unhomogenized milk, you know?
Yeah. But Bryson, tell us about how this went down, man. Like, give us your backstory of what you guys are doing, and then, you know, bring us up to where we're at currently.
Yeah. So, you know, like you said, we're frustrated with the way that things are as well, not just in our food system, but you know, COVID was a big awakening for a lot of us, and we were included in that. We have a lot to be thankful for. We have a lot for COVID for, because it really woke us up. You know, to see the tyranny around us, to see the control, to see the things that are outside of our control. And one of those things that we realized during that time was our dependency on someone else for food, our dependency on someone else to feed our family, that we had never really thought about before. So that was 2021, and that's when we first got our first pigs, and we began to dabble in the meat market, you know, what it looks like to sell meat. And from the jump, you know, we just did not like the amount of government overreach, the regulations that we were being told we had to follow. It just did not seem right. And, you know, the easy thing here to do, the easiest option in life in general, is to comply, is to do what they tell you to do, and to color inside of their lines. But we decided, you know, we didn't want to do that. This is our food, you know, this is our family we're talking about. This is something we're standing up, you know, and fighting for. And so we created a private membership association a few years back, as a way of offering, you know, specialty products at the time to a small number of people, and it just began to grow and grow. And you know, we also, for the raw milk side of the house, we ran a herd share program, which is what most people do to get raw milk into the community. But we were not satisfied. We were never satisfied with a herd share program, because to us, it's deceitful. It's the government putting farmers into a small, dark, narrow corner and saying, look, we're not going to let you sell raw milk. We're going to put you over here, and you're allowed to operate a herd share program where you, instead of selling your product that is milk, you're going to be selling a service that is boarding and milking someone else's cows, at least on paper. They control your language. You cannot say we sell milk. You have to say, well, we sell shares of the herd to give people access to milk. And you know, we're believers in Christ, and that just, you know, again, it's deceitful. We didn't like it. It's a little bit like Joel said, it's clunky. You know, when people, you know, would call us and reach out to us like, oh, do you have raw milk? Do you sell raw milk? I have to immediately start backpedaling right there. I'm like, well, you know, not technically, you know what I mean?
Right. How does that actually work on a herd share for everybody that's not familiar? You know, so you're stuck. You can't use the verbiage of I sell raw milk. You can't, it is anything like that. So how would that work if I've got cows, you've got cows, we're in this herd share? How does the person get that milk? What does that even entail with the herd share?
So since it is illegal to sell raw milk for human consumption to the public, the workaround, the loophole that is a herd share is, instead of selling raw milk, you are selling an interest in the herd, or the interest in a particular cow, depending on how you have it set up and worded. And then you charge, instead of charging, you know, by the gallon or for a particular volume of milk, you're charging a service fee. So you're not paying for a good. The end user is not buying a good. Instead, they are paying for a service, often called a boarding or milking fee, and that's the loophole around it. We weren't big fans of that, and there's no concrete law that says, yeah, herd shares are allowed and legally protected. They are simply allow, they are just the state of Virginia Department of Agriculture just allows them to operate, and they can be shut down at any time, at any day. In fact, I keep hearing in North Carolina they're having issues with this right now, but I'm not 100% on that. But we recently transitioned everything. We got rid of the herd share program, and we just run everything under the private membership association. And if people don't know what a private membership association is, most people don't. I didn't know what it was until just a few years ago. Under the First Amendment of our United States Constitution, we have the right to freely assemble and privately associate and privately contract. And so a PMA is exercising our First Amendment rights to do so. Oh, of course, freedom of speech, but that's the one everybody talks about. There's other things in there. And what that does essentially is it separates your business. There's two realms of commerce in this country. We have the public realm of commerce, and we have the private realm of commerce, or public domain, private domain, if you will. And what a PMA is doing is it is differentiating you from no longer working in the public domain, and instead you're operating within the private domain, meaning a PMA's activities, what our members do, are outside of the government's jurisdiction, because again, we are in the private domain, and we have the right to operate privately as private citizens in the United States of America, at least for right now.
For now,
yeah.
Right? Like you said. Now, Sue? You've got a lot of insight into these. I mean, are you familiar with the PMAs?
No, not any of the bylaws or anything, but it seems to me that this is what I would consider that is kind of like a farmer's market. For example, if I wanted to get raw milk from Bryson, right, and I'm raising potatoes, why can't we exchange? I don't. Who's throwing this lawsuit on you, Bryson? What government agency is trying to say that this falls under? You're violating what statute? Is it state, federal, what?
So this originally started from the county level at our county health department. They sent us a cease and desist letter this past December telling us to cease all sales of raw milk to the public. And well, that was an easy one for us because we don't sell anything to the public, especially raw milk. So we ignored that order or that letter, whatever you want to call it. And we didn't hear anything out of it. Our council, the council that we were given at the time was, they're just, this is just a shot in the dark. This is when, the Maha group was entering office, of course. We figured they were just pulling, at strings, which they are. So we ignored it. We chose not to contract with them, essentially. And we are under no contract with them to this day. It's important to note. And we thought it was, we thought it just had gone away. I guess that's kind of naive, ignorant thinking when you're dealing with the government. But 8 months later, we got served, that picture that everyone saw, that fat stack of subpoenas. They subpoenaed our farm, myself and my wife individually as well, which, as a husband and provider and protector of the family, that kind of touches you differently, as a male.
Absolutely.
So it is coming from the Virginia Department of Health. specifically the commissioner of the Virginia Department of Health, who is the top dog there. Her name is Karen Shelton. She's a gynecologist out of Bristol. She was appointed by Governor Glenn Youngkin in 2023, and she is the plaintiff on this case.
So what are they trying to hem you up on? Is it just the raw milk thing? What have they said? What was it that they stated in here that, you know, that the cease and desist, they wanted you to shut the whole operation down, I'm going to assume, but
yeah, that's
what are
my
you looking at
question.
now?
There's got to be a basic. I mean, if Karen Shelton's a gynecologist, what does she know about agriculture and the health?
It's a good
the health.
Well, what's even worse than that is the fact that the state will step in to be the victim of victimless crime. Karen Shelton, she's the plaintiff. She's the one doing this. There's no victim. No one has come forward to claim they've been a victim of anything that you've done. So the state will take it upon itself to step in and say, we're the victim of this victimless crime. And that's what you're facing now, essentially.
Right. And they are continuing to accuse us of unlawfully selling raw milk, which is just not the case. They are petitioning the court to permanently enjoin or ban us from unlawfully selling raw milk, which it's just outlandish. What they're doing is they're completely disregarding private membership associations as a legal and constitutionally protected Supreme Court upheld entity. We really don't understand how. It's obvious their attorney, who works for the Attorney General of Virginia, didn't read anything going into this. You know, this is stuff I wasn't well versed on any of this myself, but now when you look back and you read these past cases and what's been upheld and what's been said and the precedents that has been set, it's kind of outstanding that they chose to go down this path and deliberately degrade our constitutional rights. It's outlandish.
I really like how you said that too, Chris. You know, it's a victimless crime. Like, so if you have like X amount of members of your PMA, and the private membership that you guys you've not got any complaints or any issues from your members.
No,
there's correct.
There hasn't been a single complaint made about raw milk. At least
or anything.
Has anybody, Bryson, sorry to interrupt, but has anybody insisted on an inspection or coming onto your property to see how you actually package the raw milk or anything like that?
No.
See, yes, you have a First Amendment violation here with your freedom of assembly, right? Mm-hmm. You could also put religion on there. You can say, hey, this is, we have a bunch of people that because of our religion or because religious thing, dietary exemptions, religious exemptions. You can use the MAHA movement too, because pasteurized milk has been linked to heart disease and things like that. But the one that really bothers me is I think you have a Fourth Amendment, a right to privacy and a right to private property. I don't see, like Chris said, this is a victimless crime. What gives them probable cause to come and inspect you and shut you down from the health department? I don't understand this.
I'm right there with you, Sue. We don't understand either.
Yep, that's a great point as well. So we've got a whole bunch, a stack of subpoenas 4 inches thick, and you're doing all this bad damage because except for you have no one of your members have any complaints, and there's not been an inspection of your facility to show that there's some practice that's being made that could make that unsafe for consumption. But here you are, got a court date.
Yeah. So let's let the viewers know, the history of it. Nicholas Parrott, he was a brewer in 1809. He's the one that came up with canned goods for Napoleon's army, right? I love that, drinking raw milk.
right
But,
there.
I did too. I was gonna mention that. I love it. It's got that huge quart, or better than quart jar of real whole milk sitting right there that he's hitting on. I was gonna tell you that. Well played on that. I like that.
But
Dude,
no,
I grew up-
we got to help Bryson out, because this is this goes against it. I mean, we caught canned goods in 1809. Pasteurization wasn't invented until 1899. 90 years later, by Auguste Goulin, who was also French, right? And all it really was is he came up with a 3-cylinder pump that takes the fats, breaks it down, and makes the texture a little bit more consistent. Doesn't allow the cream to separate from the milk, type of thing, and to heat it up a little bit for, again, big cities and for shelf life, just like for canned goods. But the French don't use any of it. I mean, you go to Europe, you can get raw milk all you want, because the advantages to raw milk, and I wrote some of these down for our viewers. You got, I mean, if pasteurized milk, here's the disadvantages of pasteurizing milk. You get reduced nutritional value. All right, number one. Number two, it's an altered flavor. For those of you guys who've never had milk that that grandma or grandpa milked a cow with that morning, the flavor is completely different from when you open a jug of milk, right? Digestive discomfort. Right. I can remember when I was a kid growing up on the farm, and then we went to the city, and I first started drinking pasteurized milk. It would give me all kinds of diarrhea and all kinds of issues. Right. And then I've already mentioned that it's possibly linked to heart disease with when you're heating up that milk and keeping all the fats together, and then and changing the consistency. It gets a little bit more into your bloodstream, and possibly causes heart disease. So I think you should jump on the Maha movement, And has everybody got all the way up to Kennedy and asked him how he feels about raw milk?
Brother, we're doing the best we can to try to get in touch with him or any of those folks. I'm a tiny player in this game, but I'm doing the best I can. I have exercised every angle of approach to those people. I've sent emails, messages, comments, tags. I mean, you name it. And it's not just me at this point. It's all of our supporters have been doing the same thing. And we can only hope and pray that the right people catch wind of this. But I wanted to bring a point. So you're talking about the benefits of raw milk, and if you've never tried it, man, I was that person. I grew up on pasteurized skim milk as a kid, all the way through high school. We didn't even drink whole milk because I was a '90s baby, and during the '90s, the government did a really good job of demonizing fat.
It was bad for you.
That's right. So I grew up on skim pasteurized milk and margarine, for goodness sakes. And then so I didn't drink milk as an adult because I just related it to that garbage. And then the first time I turned up a glass of whole Jersey A2 cow's milk with a butterfat content of over 5%, it literally changed my life. It was a firework type experience, is how I like to explain it. I couldn't get enough of it, and so we created a business around it, and we have countless testimonial stories from our members of how well their health has been impacted since transitioning to drinking unpasteurized milk. People's children, we've got moms that have children with autism, and if their child drinks pasteurized milk, his demeanor, his mood deteriorates rapidly. But when he's on pasteurized milk, he's more even keel. He's acting more normal, not to be disrespectful, but children with psoriasis, that flares up when they drink pasteurized milk, that does not, when consuming raw milk. I mean, I could go on and on and on. This is an asset to the community, and we would be fooled if we didn't think the government didn't know how beneficial raw milk was for us. because they do. And that's one of the reasons that they are trying to eliminate it from our diets, because the last thing they want is a healthy, thriving population, capable of independent thought.
Absolutely.
Healthy populations don't keep big pharma in business, So that's why they need that. No, and they want to remove us as far from the means of production of like food. Just as one example, they don't want you producing any of your food because they've already told us that they're going to start putting RMNA vaccines in the beef and in the pork, and we're going to put it here, we're going to put it there, we're going to put it in the food. You don't want to take your shots? Fine, we'll just feed it to you, and you'll eat it. So that's why they hit guys like you, Bryson, that are out there just doing a little piece. You're just doing a little thing. Your footprint's probably not even that big. You don't ship, do you? I imagine people have to come and pick it up. So you have a very small footprint, and it makes you wonder, why do they come down with such a big hammer on such little guys for doing nothing? I mean, when you look at the grand scheme of it, especially in the sense of the natural world, you're taking a natural product in a natural way and allowing people to naturally consume it. There's nothing wrong with that entire scenario that's taken place. It's been done, as the comments were saying earlier. We've been drinking raw milk a hell of a lot longer than we've been drinking pasteurized milk.
Yeah,
exactly. And the FDA and the CDC are kind of, at the fourth level of government, this bureaucracy. They're just kind of doing what they want, and right now the public mistrust in them is immense. So, I can't understand why, in states like Colorado, where you can have recreational marijuana or you can drink alcohol, why can't you also, go to a farm and pick up raw milk if you don't want your kids drinking pasteurized milk? I don't understand that. I think you're providing a service and a choice for people who don't have choices.
Yeah. I think it boils down to the same thing that a lot of the natural and holistic healers were shut down and made out to be quacks by certain hierarchy, over 100 years ago. And then Big Pharma comes in,
the
AMA, and they took all that natural stuff that was good for you and turned it into the garbage that we currently are prescribed for every single element that in turn causes another thing. Another side of this with milk, not only just pasteurization, homogenizing, what about how the dairy industry is run with the constant pumping them full of hormones and vaccinations and all this kind of stuff that is transferred to the milk that you're consuming. And once again, just like Chris said, healthy people don't pay dividends for Big Pharma and all these big lobbyists and all these higher powers that shouldn't be, as my good friend Billy Bond, who is in the audience with us. And I appreciate you tuning in, brother, because he's actually talked with Bryson as well, and along with AJ Richards from the farm, who is fighting for food sovereignty out there in out west. They keep trying to RFID chip the cattle and all this craziness. Food is now the target. It started out with the holistic healers, shut them down, make them quacks, and then feed us a whole bunch of toxic poison, sell it back to us. Now the food is the other thing. I mean, look at the egg. My gosh, the egg has been good for you and bad for you about a dozen times that I can remember. Every time you turn around, I'm going to have somebody, oh, nope, can't eat that. The yolk's bad for you. Nope, just whites. Nope, don't eat anything at all. Cholesterol, bad. Come on, man. Come on. It comes down to we can't have healthy people because healthy people are, they could resist. And food sovereignty and being able to feed your own family cuts you out of that loop. So I think that's a huge part of it. Now, another side of this thing is because you're running a PMA, your legal, any lawyer won't touch you. Then is what my understanding is.
I was just going to ask you about counsel, if you found the right lawyer yet, that's someone that knows what they're talking about in this sphere to represent you.
Right. So from what I understand, and again, I'm certainly not an expert on this, but from what I understand, a licensed attorney will not represent. I shouldn't say will not. There might be one out there, but typically will not represent a PMA because you are telling the judge that they do not have jurisdiction over whoever you're representing, which is the truth. The judge does not have jurisdiction over the private domain. And because of that, I guess there's fear of losing their license. So they will not do it. They will not take those cases. We do have legal counsel behind us. We work with a company called Pro Advocate out of Texas. They've been constructing and managing PMAs for I think over 50 years now. And so they certainly have our backs. They are guiding us, coaching us through this. We will be representing ourselves technically in court, but we have this.
Well, I'm curious. I'm curious. The subpoenas. So far, you haven't been charged with anything criminal yet, right?
No, this is all civil.
This is all civil. Okay. All right. Because I was just wondering if it turned criminal, I would look at the court and be like, well, you need to supply my defense attorney then, because that would kind of make them cut their own tail off, going in that circle that they're in of, I can't get legal counsel because the court doesn't actually have authority over this, but yet here we are, we're in your court. So then you provide me the legal counsel. It's like, I can see you're trapped in circles inside of circles inside of circles. It's retarded over milk.
Right. Which Amos Miller was another one of this. Now, that was actually, what was that, over a year ago, Bryson? We had actually talked about this. That's how we actually started talking after Wes had introduced us. But was what he was dealing with is basically the same thing that you were, correct?
Correct. Yeah. I don't know the finer details of Amos's case. Amos was one of the catalysts, and when we created our PMA, when we first decided to take that step, I reached out to Amos to ask about his experience and beliefs of a PMA and what its capabilities are, because honestly, when you're separated from your constitutional rights and then you hear about your constitutional rights, they can sound too good to be true, which is sad to say, but I needed to talk to a man who was exercising it, and Amos was the guy. So I did speak to him. That was several years ago. I think what happened with Amos was that I think he got either him or he's a big outfit up there. I mean, they are doing some numbers up there for sure. But I think the state of Pennsylvania was scrutinizing him over some unsigned contracts. So the thing about what we do is it's all under private contract. So if you have one person that, maybe it's a mole, show up to your farm and, maybe rush you through a purchase. And if I were to say, okay, well, just sign the contract when you get home. Well, that's a no-no. So I believe that's what they got him. I really don't want to speak out of place here, but that's what I've been told.
It's a shame because they make the process the punishment, the process of you trying to defend yourself, of trying to prove you're doing nothing wrong. Just that process is the punishment. They don't have to be successful because, they can drag this out for years, ruin your life, cost you a fortune, and,
Oh, yeah.
Another thing you can try, and I've seen them do it out in Arizona many times. Matter of fact, I was good friends with some people out in Arizona that did the exact same thing, not with raw milk, with basically uninspected and processed pork and beef. Was they created their own church, and it gave them a religious exemption to drinking. Or eating any kind of processed beef or pork. So they use the religious exemption route. I don't know if that would help you out or not. But I just went over this Karen Shelton's bio on my cell phone, and I don't see how she's automatically the expert all of a sudden. It sounds to me like she was all about getting the COVID vaccination and things like that. And
yeah, for sure.
I don't think she knows a lot about agriculture or about nutrition. She's not a nutritionist by any means.
Right. I'm sure, man, I'm sure she's just following orders.
Nah, well, not. I mean, someone had to make that decision, and she's the final authority that was able to make that decision.
Correct.
And she looked at a small family farm and said, "Yeah, let's stop what they're doing because we don't like it. Because we're, we're their betters, and we decided that they shouldn't drink that, but they should drink Mountain Dew and all the other kind of shit in the world that's out there.
Or you can go to any corner store and buy a gallon of alcohol and kill yourself if you want to.
Yeah.
Quickly. To your point about eggs, at least you can buy a raw egg, for goodness sakes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is a raw egg, but then the treatment of the chickens of the these big corporations, not to name any of them, of course, all those eggs are full of all kinds of nasty stuff as well as being washed, the bloom washed off. It's set on the shelf for who knows how long, refrigerated. It's the whole thing. It comes down to they want us sick. There's none of it makes any sense. It comes down to they want us sick. And what you were talking about, Chris, of just chasing the tail around and around. Hey, make them give you counsel. It's a great way of putting it. But at the same time, these people enjoy, like this gynecologist here. It is her job, but I think a lot of these people are actually mentally ill. They enjoy watching people suffer for just trying to live. They enjoy it. They actually do. I think they get off on watching a person be drugged into court over and over and over again and rail-raided and
they make money off it.
And they make money off of it. I mean, Billy was just talking about, all the stuff years ago. Randy Weaver, the siege at Ruby Ridge. That was a great example. He was talking about, the guy, you can take in consideration, yes, he sold a weapon that was a little bit shorter. They're trying to hem him up. He's like, I'm not having any part of this. But then you break all this stuff down, blow his wife's head off on the front porch.
While holding a baby.
While holding an infant.
After the ATF killed his son. Yes.
Right. After they blew his arm off and then executed him after killing the family dog. And then when it's all said and done, what was it, 5 years later almost or something? It was quite a few years. I think it was almost 5 years later. The man is, it was acquitted of a bunch of the charges, and he was awarded like $5 million or something.
Oh, it took longer than 5 years for that to happen. It was well over 5 years.
It was a while. It was a while, but he was released on time.
Yeah,
they did.
There was a lawyer out of Wyoming named Spence. Yep. He was pretty famous. He represented Claude Dallas too, and convinced the jury that Claude Dallas was about ready to get killed by that game warden. But that's another thing. I would, and I know, Bryson, you're clutching for straws here. I would try to find me a lawyer who would want to countersue right from the very start, because that assures him that he could actually get paid for something like this. And you're also looking at all kinds of constitutional violations, but especially if you try to do a religious exemption, now you can try to countersue right from the get-go, and that usually scares these health agencies and health departments off real quick. Is when you say, okay, you want to fight this, we'll countersue you. You guys are going to pay for everything, and oh, by the way, we're going to sue the state.
Right.
Yeah. So you're not the first one to advise us to.
Okay.
You're not the first one to advise us to do that, and we are considering it for sure. Because this.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Bryce. Go ahead. Finish your thought there.
This is direct degradation of our constitutional rights. I mean, it's black and white. These things have been held up in federal Supreme Court time and time again. You know, we've got the NAACP v. Alabama in 1958, Roberts v. United States, JC's in 1984, which clarified the protections from expressive and intimate associations. I mean, I could go on. There's several more, but just proving that this is just blatant. It's a blatant.
What you need to do is have some legal counsel help you draft essentially a boilerplate civil suit in reaction to this, and then get every member of your association to file suit individually, so they get this avalanche. Because it's not just you, it's every member that's being violated here. They're violating everybody's rights. Or do it as a class action style lawsuit, you know, so to bring more weight, more teeth to it than just you guys. They see that, oh shit, we're going to have to deal with not this one family, we're going to have to deal with 75 other families that are all going to sue us now over this thing too. It's just an idea.
Yeah, well, another example of that is the members of this association they don't have farms, they don't have a pasture, they don't have a milk barn. Okay, so what if I don't have a pasture or milk barn? What's stopping me from going getting raw milk? I like raw milk. That's violating my rights too. You know, why can't I go to Bryson and buy if I want to exchange, barter, or buy? What law is there against that?
There's a law, because the law is the selling of raw milk, not the consumption of raw milk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's like,
as we watch Bryson poison himself on live.
Look
right
at all
now on the
internet.
internet.
I could go and get somebody's homemade beer, and he could sell me a case of his homemade beer, and nobody's going to, you know, the ATF isn't going to come and raid. You know,
well, not yet.
Basement.
Yeah.
Raw honey.
Why are they starting on this guy with raw milk? That just blows my mind.
I mean, raw honey. We've got Denise Green. She said, how about raw honey too? Many people sell their honey from bees in their own backyard, and that's breaking the law too. You know, where does it stop? That's the real question. Where does it stop? Because, you know, the raw milk is the chopping block. That's the huge thing now. You know, it's, raw milk, the evil raw milk. But as time goes on, you know, you're going to see more and more. Where does this actually stop? It's going to get to where you won't be able to have your backyard flock of chickens to have raw eggs, because raw eggs are illegal because they're bad for you.
Right. Yeah, they would be deemed a public health threat, like we've been labeled.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I guess I wonder too if since what they've said is you've been ordered to stop selling to public, you've been deemed a public health threat. You know, turning the verbiage around on them. We don't deal with the public, and you know, in any capacity, we are a private group. You know, because as we've learned with this mad crazed leftist mad dash we've been suffering through for the last decade, pretty much, words matter, right? And what does the word public mean? You know, what's the legal definition of the word public, and then what's the legal definition of the word private? You know, and lawyers are good at this kind of shit. I know I'm not a lawyer, but we got to remember, right doesn't make us right. It's you know, it's like the old joke of, you know, guy saying, I wish my wife would drown, and she hears him, she's like, yeah, but I know how to swim. And he's like, it only matters if a jury believes you know how to swim. And that's the world we live in. You know, it's the courts that decide this crap. And so we still have to figure out a way to almost in a guerrilla fashion work inside that legal system to establish the fact that we have the right and to defend that right. Because a right not defended, and especially a right not exercised, is a right that doesn't exist. So by arguing the point and defending the rights and staying with it is how we keep these kind of things. And I hate that you're having to go through it, but have you guys done a GoFundMe or something to help fund this for you guys? Like, is there a way that the community at large can help you?
We've got a Give, Send, Go account set up. You can just look up Triple Oaks Farm, and you'll find it. I think
right here, guys. You can
help to pay our legal fees.
Scan that up there on the front. and that'll take you to that. Take
I'm
you
gonna
to
pitch
Christian-
in,
that.
right? I'm gonna pitch
Christian
in right now.
summarized our defense. I mean, we are not selling to the public. Everything that we have moved, especially in the raw milk world, has been under signed private consensual contract where membership fees were exchanged. You know, compensation was taken for that membership.
Right.
And I want to address the someone just commented. A good resource is the Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund. We hear that a lot. Amber, oh, is that your wife?
That would be my wife. Yes.
Okay.
She's a judge. Listen to her.
You can still say it. You can still say it. It's all right because it's called, because it's not just the first. Look, it's also freedom of speech. So you're allowed to speak and say what you want to say, Bryson.
I'll be nice. So that is a common, suggestion for us. We actually used to be members of the Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund, and they do consist of attorneys, but they only represent herd share farms. They do not touch PMAs, and also not to just throw shade on them, but they pay their people's salaries. Based off donations, contributions, all in the name of advocating, campaigning for change, for legislature change in the food realm. And then, when I was on my way out, when I was realizing that they were not going to do us any good, basically, I asked and verified this. What change have they actually done in the last decade plus? Have they achieved anything to make our jobs as farmers easier? And the answer is no. They haven't done a thing other than take donations.
Controlled opposition.
Yeah.
Controlled opposition
My
is what
wife
they
was
are.
also talking about Elizabeth Rich. I'm not familiar with her, but is this somebody? I'll talk to her after we're done here and shoot you over what she's talking about. Maybe it's something that that will help you guys out.
Sure.
Any help is good help. So,
another one, just while I'm addressing these good ideas, people throw out, we'll just sell it as pet food. We've done that too. So Triple Oaks Farm, back in the day, a couple of years ago, we actually made Virginia state history. We were the first farm to have Virginia Department of Agriculture license and register our raw milk products to be sold in retail stores as pet food. We had raw milk on the shelves in Virginia as pet food, and that was done just it was just kind of fun, to be honest, to watch heads roll at the state level when we were putting that application through. But with the pet
One
food,
thing before that, hang on. Let me get this out because I'm going to forget it if I don't. Look up in Virginia, as I believe that the United States nationwide is under this ruling from FDA. All pet food produced in the United States must be of an acceptable level to be consumable by humans. So I believe that that's a federal law that says if it's pet food, it's got to be at least good enough for people to eat it. I believe. And if they've labeled your raw milk as pet food,
yeah. Well,
you see what I'm saying?
It's I've got a couple issues with the pet food situation. So selling raw milk as pet food, yeah, it sounds like a great idea. It sounds like an easy way to get your product out there outside of the jurisdiction of the state. But to sell as pet food, at least in a store, it requires a license. It requires a livestock feed license that falls under the Agricultural Commodities Division of the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. And what that license is, it is a contract waiving your Fourth Amendment, right to private property, constitutional rights. We found these things out the hard way, right? So this is why it's important I tell others that might be thinking about doing it. Any license, any permit that you sign with the state You are waiving your constitutional rights. You are now under contract with the state, and it's important to know that you don't have to do these things just because everyone around you likes to give out, free advice on what they think you're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's the small print in permitting. You gotta be careful about that.
That's exactly right. No, you do not need business permits or LLCs. You don't need meat handlers permits like we were told we needed in the beginning. All these things, it's the government wanting you to come into their compliance so that they can have you under their contract and under their thumb, under their control. So we no longer have any license, any contract like that, which is why we don't sell it as pet food. And also, at the end of the day, we are Christians, and selling raw milk as pet food is, in fact, deceitful. No matter how much I intend that milk to be for your dog or not, we know you're going to drink it as a person. So we try to stay away from that, and we don't like playing these games. Milk is consumed by people. People milk these cows. People raise these cows. It is for human consumption, and we don't want to dance around our constitutional rights.
Well, unfortunately, Bryson, the judicial system has become a big game, right?
Yeah.
I'm originally from Colorado and Texas, and I'm not a lawyer, but I have represented myself in both Colorado and Texas. So when it comes to a civil suit, and I just looked it up again for Virginia, before you can take the civil suit to court, but 10 days before the pleading, you have a right to demand a trial by jury.
Yep.
And if you're going to represent yourself, that's your best chance, because you also get to approve or disapprove those jurors.
Mm-hmm.
When you're picking out a jury, you want to find somebody that's into farming, is a Christian, and might be on your side. You want to set at least half of that jury with people that will actually listen to your argument.
Yeah,
thanks in your favor.
Yeah, we're definitely
that takes it away. That takes it away from the health department. That takes it away from the judge. It's up to the jury then. Does that make sense?
I think that's our Sixth Amendment constitutional right, is a right to jury in the civil trial. I think
that's right.
I've been trying to memorize my Bill of Rights, man.
Yeah, civil suits, and trial by jury is two different things.
Different things.
From a civil suit, you have to demand a trial by jury. A civil suit, a judge can basically make the ruling.
Right. But even with the jury, though, once that jury's been selected, you've got to pay attention to the instructions that the judge gives the jury, which I don't dig super deep into the informed juror thing, but I know that a judge giving a jury any form of instructions is wrong. When a judge sits there and says, if the state proves this, then you must decide X. Well, then what the hell are we sitting here for then? That's not how it works. And I've been assured that I'll never be on jury duty again, because I kind of bucked that whole informed jury question in selection one time, and I was immediately thrown out of the court, like immediately, just by asking, are we talking about jury nullification? Which jury nullification basically is the state could prove that you violated whatever rule, regulation, or whatever it is they're holding up against you, but the people of the jury can be like, yeah, but he's not hurting nobody, so he's innocent. Whereas when the judge tries to instruct juries, they'll override the jury's ruling, saying they didn't follow the judge's instructions. Which, why do we even have a judicial element of the government then, if that's the case? If they can set aside a jury's ruling,
that also opens it up for an appeal.
Yes.
Yeah. So the plan is, we have our hearing coming up on September 22nd. This is our first hearing. We're really hoping that the judge will do the right thing and dismiss this at the hearing. If not, we of course will go to a trial. If we lose at the trial, we 100% will appeal to a higher level court. That is the game plan.
So September the 22nd, and Joel has actually said this. Is Joel going to be a part of this? Is he going to try to make it over there on the 22nd as well?
I'm not
Can
sure.
we get him over there? Joel, if you're listening.
I might be too nervous if Joel's in the crowd.
That's all right. What's that? Yeah, let's see if we can get Joel out there. But anybody that wants to show up to this, I would like to try to get over here for this as well. Let's get a whole bunch of people, like Joel said. Let's just flood this place and try to fight this tyranny that they're hitting you with. Because what is the result if they get their way? What happens to your business?
Well, this is where it gets kind of silly, and this is all just a game. So they are accusing us of unlawfully selling raw milk, and they want to get the court to ban us from unlawfully selling raw milk. So yeah, worst case scenario, we appeal and we continue to lose and lose. We just go back to running a herd share program.
So they want you to have that license is what it comes down to.
Well, a herd share doesn't even have a license. So a herd share you don't need a license for. So that's where this doesn't make sense, because they're not stopping raw milk from going into the community. They're not. Right. They just want to control. It's just control. It's 100% control.
So Mac McGee, Bryson, would you accept a local pro bono lawyer at all?
I'm definitely open to talk about it.
There we go. So we're getting up on the top of the hour, and I don't care about keep talking, but at the same time, I want to get out here of what people can do to help you guys out. What, strengthen numbers. And so, there's no doubt as many people we can get to that courthouse up there with you, and get you in touch with as many people as we possibly can. So, but Russ, would you throw that back up there for one? If you guys don't follow Triple Oaks Farms, then absolutely do that. So you can keep up to date with what he's got going on there. And Bryson is all over. He's on TikTok. He's on Facebook, Instagram. He's got all the platforms. Follow him up. I follow him on all these platforms. It's actually, he's got some pretty good content for that matter. I actually enjoy watching him out there messing around, slopping the hogs, moving pigs, processing chickens. I feel a kindred spirit. But get over there, follow him, follow what he's doing, and I'm sure you're going to be updating everybody as you move forward with this as well. Oh,
for sure. Yeah, we're just going loud with this week as far as notifying the public of. Thank you, Matt. As far as notifying the public about this case, and I'll just say it again: September 22nd, 10 a.m., Campbell County Circuit Court. It's in Rustburg, Virginia. We would love for anyone and everyone to be there if you can. I want to be spilling out of that courthouse into the parking lot.
Exactly. That's what it needs too. That's what it takes. I think the reason we were just talking about, the siege at Ruby Ridge, I think one of the only reasons that any of them survived was because the massive amount of people that showed up there with media present.
Yeah, they would have wiped them all out for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't spend that amount of money as the government did, and walk away from there with a loss.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, 100%. Bryson, is there anything else that you'd like to leave us with here, man?
No, man, that's pretty much it. Thank you for sharing my stuff. I hope everyone can like and follow our farm and our family and support us any way you can.
Absolutely. Chris, Sue, you got anything you want to leave everybody with?
Yeah, well, I just, because I am a history buff, I just want to remind people that are listening that, Louis Pasteur invented penicillin by watching milkmaids, right? So I agree with Chris. I agree with everybody. And I agree with Bryson. I mean, if more people could drink raw milk, maybe we wouldn't have to have all these vaccinations as kids. You know what I mean? I mean, nobody, the milkmaids never had to worry about anything. They were immune to most of the diseases where penicillin came from, because of raw milk, right? And Bryson, I'll come up and be an expert witness because I can remember I was in a cafeteria in the College of Middlebury, Vermont, and some guy just jumped all over me because I drew a glass of whole milk over 2%. But I turned around and looked at this little skinny arm little bastard just yelling at me, and I just like, I will knock the head off your shoulders. Little spoon. You know, I basically told him, if you drink whole milk, you might grow big like me. You know.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure raw milk has many more nutritional values than just skim milk. So
Absolutely,
it's just a choice, and I can't believe the state of Virginia is doing this to you. It just blows my mind.
Unfortunately, I can believe it, because it seems like this is the direction that we are going in the world today. And man, I hope we can change it. But it seems like they keep tightening that grip down harder and harder. But this is what the only thing we can do at this point is show up in strength in numbers, show up there in hordes, and try to force their hand. You know, that's what we said with Randy, with all the people that were there. This is no different. And you know, unfortunately, we are stuck in the position of it feels like the good guys are the only ones that play by the rules. And here we are trying to play by the rules to make stuff happen. Not saying that's not how it's supposed to be, but the other side, man, they just seem to be making up the rules as they go. So,
yeah, you got to remember, Virginia is also the ones that say that, you know, a guy can still come into your daughter's bathroom in a public school, and that's okay.
Yeah, when they refer to themselves as a Commonwealth, that's always a clue to me to not live there. But Bryson, I wish you the best of luck in this, man. I mean, sounds like you actually have a pretty good case, probably, to me. Again, not a lawyer, but the fact that you're still doing it, you continue to doing it, is the important thing. You know, we can't be so easily bullied into accepting the changes that our betters, you know, for lack of a better term, are always trying to push upon us. And it's that act of resistance. The left loves to talk about resistance. Well, you're doing the same thing, you know, resisting the overreach, because it is absurd. You know, they want to have their hand in everything from the refrigerator to your underwear, you know, and it's good to see. I mean, it's just the truth. So keep up the fight. And if it wasn't mine and my daughter's birthday on that day, I would drive up to Virginia to sit in the courtroom with you, man. Because I believe in the little guy standing up to the big guy and giving him the finger. You know, I don't mean just stand up. I mean, letting them know that this is wrong, and that we as a people aren't going to tolerate it. So
and we certainly believe in the power of the people. You know, there's a whole lot more of us than there are of these bureaucrats, and if we can just get enough people to dig down deep and find enough courage to show up and stand up for something as simple as food and how they feed their families, I think this is a no-brainer. This is a win for us.
Yeah, if we can get back to people just minding their own damn business. Does this affect you? No, shut the fuck up. Do you want to drink raw milk? No, then go away. You know, I mean, this ain't your issue. Just go the fuck away. Who cares what you got to say? Sorry, you know, the nosy Karens kind of thing of the world today that everybody talks about gets on my nerves more than anything. If everybody would just mind their own damn business. Look at it. Does that affect me directly? No, I don't care then. And that's how I kind of weigh about everything. Does that directly affect me, or will my actions have a direct impact on the outcome of this? No, I'm not getting involved. You know, but keep up the fight, man, for sure.
Absolutely. And once again, it's my body, my choice until it comes down to drinking raw milk. All right, and then you just can't do it. It's not allowed. Once again, here we are with this ridiculousness. But Bryson, you got my number. If you need anything, man, of course, we'll stay in touch, and we'll keep pushing to get you as much help as possible. Guy, throw that back up there, Russ, for Triple Oaks Farms. And if you guys want to donate to the cause, because this kind of stuff costs money, and they print it, we don't.
Land of the free if you can afford it. So
yeah. I mean, that's something that people forget here. Look, you know, we're not allowed to print it. They are. So they can afford a whole lot more when it comes to these lawsuits. But Bryson, Godspeed. Keep up the fight, man. You know, get with me if you need anything, and we appreciate you coming on here tonight.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. Nice to meet you.
All right. Great meeting you, man. Good meeting you, bud. Thanks for being here.
Y'all be safe, stay ready, and roll us out of here. Russ of Oz. We'll see y'all next Monday.
Catch y'all.